What time is it? No, it's not Howdy Doody time. Although I met a guy the other day that looked just like Howdy Doody. I just was like, yeah, I know, that's right. Okay, it's Marketing Monday. That's what time it is. And we're going to help you make some more money by talking about questions that you've submitted. We're going to talk about art fairs, online sales platforms, reaching new collectors, starting an email list, long-term marketing paths to create steady sales, Instagram engagement, on why it's dropping, business cards, QR codes, shopping prices, shipping prices, promoting a show, breaking into U.S. markets, and many, many more. If you're new here, I'm 𝗦𝗃, founder of several art magazines like Fine Art Connoisseur, Plein Air, many newsletters like Inside Art, American Watercolor, and many, many more, and lots of conferences like Plein Air Convention, upcoming Pastel Live, and many others. And I've been helping artists for a lot of years, and I've been working as an artist for a lot of years, over a couple decades. So my superpower is the business of art, and I love marketing. I've built companies, I've consulted companies, I've built my own stuff, and selling products and helping people do that is my superpower. And I have watched artists get 10x on their business from following my advice. So let's get the show officially started.
It's Art School Live with 𝗦𝗃. Now, here's your host, 𝗦𝗃.
All right, we're going to see if you can skunk me here, because you've got a lot of good questions, and I'm not sure I have all the good answers, but I'm going to try. If you want to send your questions to me, email them, Eric at, that's with a C, Eric at streamlinepublishing.com. All right, let's get right to it. You guys have submitted these. I'm going to do my best. Heather Collins in Muscatine, Iowa. How can an artist figure out if it's better to focus on regional art fairs or invest time in online sales platforms? You know, Heather, it's all hard. It's all hard. Nothing is easy. And, you know, it's not necessarily an all or nothing kind of a thing. You know, if you want to make a lot of money as an artist, you got to try a lot of things. You got to put yourself out there. You got to experiment a lot. You got to test a lot of things. And you're just going to have to try different things, right? Regional art fairs might be good. Outside of the region art fairs might be good. Time and online sales platforms might be good. I don't know. You know, a lot of the online sales platforms to me are a little scammy, right? I know friends that have signed on with some and they pay a lot of money up front and then they just don't get any results. But that may be them, may not be the platform's faults, but it depends. You know, and then there's, of course, all kinds of other things that you can do, all kinds of tactics. But the very first thing, Heather, is to figure out your strategy. What amount of money do you want to make? How many paintings do you have to sell to make that happen? What is your history? What is your sell-through? Where have you sold things in the past? Who bought them? What did they like about them? What do people want to buy? All of that comes into your strategy before you ever decide what my tactic is. A tactic is an art fair. A tactic is a sales platform. A tactic is Instagram. A tactic is a newsletter, right? So figure out your strategy first. And, you know, sometimes you don't know, and sometimes it changes. You know, I have things I do. I experiment with everything. Sometimes I do things and they work and then they don't work. Sometimes I try new things and they work. Sometimes they don't work. You know, you just got to play with it. I wish I could tell you more. Okay, here's one from Marcus Turner in Abilene, Texas. Marcus says, I've sold a few commissions through Facebook, but I feel stuck there. How do I expand my reach to new collectors outside of my hometown? Marcus, you're asking two different questions in the same question. Okay. Did the collectors who bought on Facebook come from your hometown? If not, then that's a different question. If they came from your hometown, different story. But if you sold a few commissions through Facebook, you feel stuck there. What does stuck mean? Does that mean it's not working anymore? That means you're sick of it? Means you don't want to do it anymore? There's a big difference there. So figure out what stuck means to you, because if you sold a few commissions through Facebook, that's a beautiful thing. Let's sell some more. Let's figure out Okay, we know that worked. Now, how do we make it work better? How do we, if you sold a few, let's say a few is 3, how do you sell 6? How do you sell 9? How do you sell 10? What do you need to sell? Go back to your strategy, as I was just talking. Now, the second question is, how do I expand my reach to new collectors outside of my hometown? Why do you need to go outside of your hometown? I mean, I don't know if your town has 400 people, but there may be 400 people who would buy paintings from you. So we all tend to get a little bit stuck on looking for new solutions to old problems. And, we tell ourselves, well, my hometown isn't producing any fruit, so it must be the problem is the hometown or the market. But it may not be the problem. You might be the problem. You might not be doing things well. You might not be marketing well. How many paintings do you have to sell in a year to make the living you want to sell? Let's start there. And then let's stop looking elsewhere for solutions, because the solution might be local. Local selling is the easiest kind of selling. You start going national, start trying to sell on social media to more and more people, it's a bigger problem. It's all a lot of work. So the minute you expand, you have different challenges. You start going on Facebook and marketing on Facebook. Now you've got a whole different set of problems. I'd focus on local. Figure out a strategy. You sit down with a pad of paper, and I want you to come up with 50 different solutions. Do not stop until you come up with 50, and you're going to go, after 3 solutions, I can't come up with anything. Yes, you can. Who can you collaborate with? Where can you sell your work? Who can sell your work for you? There's a lot of different solutions out there. I want you to take 50 different solutions, and then I want you to ask yourself another question and write down a bunch of answers. Where is the money? I always say, stand in the river where the money is flowing. I need a t-shirt that says that. So maybe somebody will send one. That'd be fun. Anyway, where is the money flowing in your town? Every town has money, because there are people who live in big houses who need art on their walls. There are people who own companies. There are people who have what it takes. Where do they hang out? Where do they have a country club, a golf club? Is there, some social club? Is there something else? Go figure out how you're going to penetrate that. The solutions are always there. Just got to ask the right questions. Clara Jensen in Helena, Montana, which is a very, very beautiful place. What's the best way to start building an art email list if I only have 80 Instagram followers? Well, okay, so you have 80 Instagram followers. How many people do you have on your art mailing list? None? Okay, well, start with the 80 Instagram followers. The problem with Instagram followers is you don't know who they are. I mean, you can look at who they are, but you don't know, are they a buyer? Are they another artist? Are they just somebody who happened to follow you for some reason? Are they local? There's not much good information out there on them. There are services that you can get information. You can pay for information that will help you, things like Zoom Info, for instance. But that's what the pros use. That's expensive stuff. But if you, you have 80 followers or 800 followers or 80,000 followers, followers are no value to you whatsoever unless they're going to buy something. Now, if you're branding yourself to 80,000 followers or 800 followers or 80 followers, it's of no value unless they buy something. So you've got to figure out, you got 80 followers. Are they going to buy something? Have they bought something? Are you putting yourself out there? Do they even know that things you have are for sale? You've got to ask those kinds of questions. Email lists come from contact with personal buyers at art shows, people you meet on the streets. If somebody says, hey, I really like your work, you can say, would you like to join my email list? Yes, I would. Great. Let me send that to you. Right? People who say, I love art, but I don't buy art, they're of no value to you. I'm not trying to be a hard guy. I'm just trying to say, this is the reality. So you can get interest on social media. You can build an email list with an ebook, a free offer, something like that to get email addresses, but you've got to make sure it's targeted, and a really good offer will repel the wrong people. In other words, if you had an ebook called 20 Tips for Art, People Who Buy Art, everybody else is going to not want that. But people who buy art, they're going to say, oh, I'd like to know that. And then now that you got 20 tips, you got to come up with 20 tips. But now you're getting them on your email list, and then you can send them your newsletter and your other stuff. That's big. Victor Ramirez in Lubbock, Texas. Victor says, I have a studio in my garage and I get occasional visitors. How do I turn that into a more professional open studio brand experience? My question, Victor, is why do you want to do that? If you're getting visitors, are your visitors complaining about your space? Are they not coming because your space is in a garage? Are they buying things when they come? You know, if you want to have an open studio brand experience, you could spend a lot of money making your garage nice, and it's not going to make a bit of difference in your sales. So what I would ask myself is, what is my goal? Everything, you notice a theme here? Everything starts with a goal, right? What is my goal? If my goal is to get more people in the studio and they don't buy anything, that's a stupid goal. Sorry. If my goal is to get 50 buyers a year from my studio, that's a good goal. Unless last year it was 100, and then you're in trouble, right? So you want to get more visitors who buy something. That's a goal. So really, the question isn't what should I do to make my space nicer. The question is, what should I do to make people buy more when they're visiting me? That's the question, and that comes down to how you present your work, how you price your work, how you display your work, and what you say to them when they visit, right? So like, you can say, hey, you know, everybody likes a bargain, right? Even wealthy people like a bargain. You can say, hey, by the way, thanks for visiting my studio. You just happened to catch me on my day. I need raise a little bit of cash, so I'm offering everything at 20% off today. Anything in the building, unlimited number of paintings you can get, everything at 20% off, but that's only this week, right? So, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, discounting can hurt your reputation a little bit, so you got to be careful about that. But it depends on where you are and what you're trying to accomplish. You know, you could spend a lot of money making that studio nice and not make any difference. So we have in Austin, Texas, where I live, we have an annual studio sale. It's always 2 weekends in November, and they put out a big book, and there's 200, 300, 400 artists participating. You get a map, and you go from place to place, and you drop in. Most of them are in garages. Once in a while, you'll see a studio building or something. Most of them have made it a little bit nicer. They've got their work on display, and maybe they swept the floor. Maybe they took the gas cans out and put them in the backyard or something like that. But that's for 2 weekends a year. You know, unless you're going to get people there on a regular basis, I wouldn't go to all that trouble. We all get a little hung up on things we think are the problem that are not the problem. The problem is you got to figure out how to sell people something. And that may be getting them in the space. It may be figuring out how to sell people without coming to the space. That's up to you. I don't necessarily want a lot of people dropping into my studio. That's just me. Hannah Mitchell, Owensboro, Kentucky. I'm a self-taught artist in a small town where there isn't much of an art scene. That's good. There's not an art scene. You know why that's good? You don't have a lot of competition. Okay. I've sold a few paintings through word of mouth, but it doesn't feel like it feels like I've hit a ceiling locally. I don't know whether to double down on building a bigger presence online, or if there are smart ways to grow visibility in a smaller market. For an artist in my situation, what would you do? What's the best long-term marketing path to create steady sales? Set some goals, right? I do not believe, I have a lot of people who work for me, and I hear this all the time. I think we've saturated our market. It's like, no, you haven't. No, you haven't. The only reason that people aren't buying something is because you're not communicating effectively with them. They don't know what's for sale. They don't know what you have available. They don't know what it costs. They don't know how to buy it. And so the first place to look is at your communication. And I don't think typically you can hit a ceiling. You know, there may be some exceptions to that, But most of us know that you can always bring new customers in the door. Unless you have met and talked with and tried to sell paintings to every person in your town, there's more people you can sell them to. And by the way, everybody who bought one needs 2, needs 3, needs 5, needs 40. And by the way, there are a lot of people who have 30 or 40 paintings of one artist. That's a collector. So I think, it really is about really trying to figure out, have you really hit a ceiling? Again, I talk about the list of 50. Make 50 ideas on what you can do. Because the minute you start moving into other things, you're starting from scratch. If you had some success, you have something that's proven, figure out how to make that success work again. What were you doing when it was working? What did you do differently then that you're not doing now? Chances are you did something that stimulated business, and you've got to find out what that is. So, it's really hard to say what's the best long-term marketing path to create steady sales. I would say the best marketing path to create steady sales is steady visibility. Email marketing, social media marketing, targeted social media marketing with people that you want it to specifically go to. And most important is email marketing. So that's going to be newsletters, release of new paintings, stories about your trips and the paintings that came out of them, any excuse to send an email. And you probably think you can send too much. You probably can't. And so, people are interested. If they're not, they're going to drop off your list, right? That's okay. So set some goals. How much do you want to sell? Who bought from you in the past? Can you sell more to them? Have you reached out to the people that bought from you in the past and say, hey, have you seen my newest work? Are you in touch with them? Do they even remember you exist? Stay in touch. Show them your latest work. Build a big presence. You could build a big presence online and have 80 million views and get nothing. I have 80, no, what is the number? I have 18 million views on this YouTube channel. I've never sold a painting. I've sold paintings in other ways, but I've never sold one here. And that's because I'm not trying to do that. But just because you have a lot of followers doesn't mean it's going to happen. You have to take actions. You have to ask people. You have to tell people that they're for sale. You have to find ways to bring them up frequently. You have to look for excuses to talk about them. And so you have to decide, how much work do I want to put in? Now, there are no ceilings. The failure is marketing or lack of marketing. Samantha Doyle in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I used to have a girlfriend in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I met her when I was 12. I was a Boy Scout. I met her at the Field Museum in Chicago. And I just instantly had, it was like love at first sight. And she became a pen pal. That was the extent of it. And then she stopped answering my letters, probably because I was drooling too much. Just saying. Okay. Samantha Doyle, Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm going to be up in Wisconsin, by the way, for Fall Color Week in Door County. That's exciting. I post art daily on Instagram, but engagement is dropping. How do I know if it's the algorithm, my content, or my audience? Samantha, always assume this is a good thing for life. If there's a problem, always assume that you're the problem. If you start there and you start correcting things, it'll make a big difference. Always assume you're the problem. Here's the deal. It's always your content. If you're boring people to death, the algorithm will notice that people aren't engaged and they'll take them away. If you're engaging people, then you're asking them questions. You're getting them to vote on things. You're trying to do interesting things. You are not saying post a comment, because that will get you in trouble. But you do want to say things like, which painting do you like, A or B? Which one do you like best? Which colors would match your couch the best? Those kinds of things. Just keep people engaged. The algorithm will always reward you when they're engaged, and it will take people away when they're not. You are the problem. Sorry about that, Samantha. You're it, baby. The buck stops there, and you need to resolve that. Okay, Benjamin Price, Conway, Arkansas. I've never been there. Here it's lovely. This is a short one. Do artists still need business cards, or is a QR code enough? Well, okay, so, kind of goes back to what's the strategy, what's the goal, How are you going to use business cards? Are you doing art shows? Look, here's the deal. I know people who are of age, my age, who don't yet know how to QR code something. And if you were to tell them about a QR code, you'd be like deer in the headlights. They will walk by an art show with a QR code on the side, and they're not going to do a thing about it. They're not going to point their phone. They're not going to know what to do, right? So don't put all your QR codes are marvelous, by the way, but not everybody's going to know how to use them. So keep in mind that that's one issue. It's nice to have a handout to give to people at an art show or a business card, but most of it's going to be wasted paper. But you do, I don't just give out business cards. Most people are like, oh, please, please, please take my business card, sir. It's like, no, you want them to make them ask for it. Hey, you want to follow, what I do? Do you like what you see here? Yes, I do. Okay, well, I hope you'll follow me. Okay, well, how do I do that? Look me up on Facebook. Okay, well, do you have a business card? Yes, yes, that's what I want. All right. Not everybody's QR savvy. Remember that. David Whitaker from Springfield, Missouri. I think Springfield is the most common name in cities. There's Springfield, Mass, Springfield, Missouri. There's a Springfield on The Simpsons. Okay, that's why they use Springfield, because it's got a lot of different connotations. David Whitaker says, I recently started building a body of work for my first solo show. The gallery is supportive, but they don't do much marketing. I'm torn between focusing my energy on making the best work possible and spending hours figuring out press releases, email campaigns, and social media. How do artists in this position balance creation and promotion? And what are the most effective marketing moves to ensure people actually come to the show and buy? Well, the first thing you want to do is sit down with your your gallery, and say, okay, how many people are going to show up at this thing? What is expected? Do people show up? What kind of marketing are you going to do? And what are you not going to do? People have shows and nobody shows up. That means they're probably not very good at marketing. If you're going to have a show and they're not going to do any marketing, then you've got to do one of two things. You got to fire the gallery. You're fired. Yeah. Okay. Or you got to figure out how to do their job for them. Their job is to get an audience into the show and to sell the paintings. If they're going to be lazy, then why would you want to be in their gallery? If they're not lazy, maybe they know that automatically they do a show and they're going to get 500 people. They're going to send out invitations and people will show up. If they have confidence in that and they're going to sell, great. That's what they're going to do. Let them do it. And you stick to your job, which is painting. But that said, I always want to control everything because I don't want to have my future dependent on some gallery. So if I have a show at a gallery and nobody shows up, that's my problem, not their problem, right? Now, it's their problem too, because they're not going to make any money, but neither am I. So if I'm going to do a gallery show, I'm going to do my own marketing. I'm going to send out my own invitations to my people, to my list, to the people I love. I'm going to spend a lot of time for a month or two about that show. I'm going to get it ready. And then the month before, because it's got to be fairly recent, I'm just going to make everybody visible of that thing. And then the weekend before and the weekend of, I'm going to jam it hard. It's only going to last a month or two for your hard work. Suck it up and do it. That's all you got to do. And you got to create desire to be there. You got to create scarcity. Why this is unique, why this is rare. You got to create urgency, why you need to be there, because they're going to miss out on something. And then look for something special. Love rumors. I love rumors. Who's going to be attending? Now, don't make something up, but if you know that Bill Gates is likely to attend, a little bird might kind of tell the press, and the press might say, hey, we hear Bill Gates is going to come, right? And so, if you have something like that you can take advantage of, we knew that we had locked in a deal with Jane Seymour to come to the plein air convention, but we put the rumor out there first so that it started a little buzz, and it did. A lot of people came. It was very successful, and she was lovely. Okay, coming up, I just want to tell you that we have Pastel Live. It's just around the corner. Really, 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 really just around the corner. The world's top pastel artists are going to be teaching, 22 of them, and you don't want to miss it. Pastel is a great starter medium, and it's fun to try even if you're doing other mediums. Go to pastellive.com. Okay, we're going to go to Emily Foster in Lynchburg, Virginia, another lovely place. How do you set shipping prices for larger canvases online without scaring off buyers? Well, you know, we're all used to free shipping on Amazon because we're paying for it through our membership. And so shipping prices can be a little bit of a hard pill to swallow sometimes. But the reality is, if I know somebody's going to ship me a big painting, I know that I'm going to get charged for it one way or the other. So there's a couple of methods, and we talked about this recently. One of the methods is just say, here's the price, shipping included. Or you could say, here's the price, shipping not included. And then you could say, we will bid the shipping based on your location. And then you bid the shipping and you either get the sale or you don't. I would build in a little extra on the cost of the painting. So if they balk about shipping, you could say, well, you know, how about this? You pay the shipping, I'll knock a couple bucks off the painting. Get a quote. The other thing you can do is, you know, pick it up, only available through pickup. And then the other thing you can do is we'll drop it off. You arrange the shipping, you use your account, we'll drop it off at UPS or FedEx and let them pack it up and do it for you. Isabel Ross in Binghamton, New York. My friend Tom Birch is from there. I've been invited to participate in a local mural project. How can I use that publicity to drive more attention to my fine art practice? Well, Isabella, that's a really great question. That's the question everybody should be asking. Whenever they have an opportunity, something going on, you want to ask yourself the question, how can I make this better for me? First off, make it special somehow. Get the press there. Are you one of many artists? If so, then what are you going to do to get noticed, to stand out if the press comes there? You've got to look for a way to stand out. The best way to do that is to control the PR. You're the one that contacts the local newspaper or TV stations, whatever. You're the one that's their contact. You become their spokesperson. You are, you know, then they're putting your name on the thing on the TV that says, you know, Isabel Ross, local artist. Now that's going to be good for you. And of course, you know, if you can find a way to get some flyers out there by the mural, figure out a way to do a grand opening, a grand reveal, and invite everybody to it. Those are the kinds of things that will bring attention to you. Lauren Sanchez in Pueblo, Colorado. I've been posting my art on Instagram for 3 years. I finally started selling small prints. But the more I try to market myself, the more overwhelmed I feel between figuring out SEO for my shop, building an email list, and keeping up with social media. I don't want to burn out, but I don't want to stall either. What would you recommend as the top priorities for an artist trying to move from casual sales to building this into a sustainable business? I recommend to you that you go to Art Business Mastery. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Look, we all face this. I started a business 300, 400,000 years ago. And I worked my butt off. I worked from 6 o'clock in the morning till probably midnight every night for a lot of years. That's what you do when you're starting a business. If you want to succeed, you're going to have to put in the time. The deal is we either have time or money. You spend time or you spend money. If you don't have money, you have to spend time. If you have money, then you can pay other people to spend time. But if you don't have money, you got to do it yourself. It's a lot of work. That's why I like galleries. If you can get 2 or 3 good galleries, and I'm in 2. I was in 3, but they died. So, you know, I might have an open slot. I think the idea here is that galleries will do all the work for you. You got to support them. You got to help them. You got to do a little of your own promotion stuff, but they're going to help you. Then you don't have to do all the work. I would say this, whenever somebody tells me I don't have any time, I ask questions like, how much time did you spend on social media last night? About 3 hours. How much time did you watch TV last night? About 3 hours. Okay, there's 6 hours, right? Do what it takes. Put in the time. If you want it so bad you can taste it, you're going to do whatever it takes. That's going to transform your life and your business. And let me go into a little depth about Art Business Mastery. It's coming up. We just moved the date to December 6th. December 6th. And it's going to be a full day that teaches you all the essentials that you need, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them, more than you can handle. We're gonna have a lot of experts on December 6th teaching. We're going to be talking about everything you need to understand to get your business moving. We'll talk about a lot of different things, a lot of guest artists and guest experts, and we're going to go into depth, and you should attend that. You know, it costs $47 to attend on the early bird price. It's normally a couple $100. And so get in there now, because if you get in now before the price goes up, you're getting it for $47, and you're getting hundreds of dollars, probably thousands of dollars of value. If you're serious, if you're looking at yourself and you're saying, okay, next year is around the corner. If I want to make money as an artist, I have got to put some study time in. And you know, you can look at blogs and you can listen to podcasts, and you should do all that. But this is specific to art marketing from the world's leading experts. $47 right now, but you got to get in and get it done because the price is going up soon. All right. That's artbizmastery.com. That's with the Z, Biz Mastery, artbizmastery.com. 𝗦𝗲𝗍𝗔 in Lyon, France. Wow, that's cool. As a painter trying to break into the U.S. markets, is it better to focus on online exposure or try to secure a U.S. gallery relationship? Well, you know, the world is very small these days, Leon, because we see people on social media from all places. But, you know, you got a little bit of a disadvantage. If you're shipping paintings across the pond, you know, it's a little bit more hassle. If you're selling in Lyon, then all you got to do is deliver them to a gallery or deliver them locally. So I would first focus on a local strategy if that were me. And you could make part of your local strategy to be social media. But I think, you know, if you can get, first off, why aren't you selling in Lyon, France? Why are you trying to break into the U.S. at all? You know, everybody says, oh, the grass is always greener over there. No, it's not. There are plenty of paintings available for sale in Lyon, France, or Paris, or, you know, any of the big cities. And so I would try that first, because you're going to understand that culture a little bit better than you will here. I met last night at a dinner party, and I was meeting with this guy whose sole job for his whole career was helping companies from France and other places acclimate to U.S. culture. And he said it was a nightmare because they didn't understand how things worked here. So why not go where you understand how things work? That's what I would do. If you're going to go for the U.S. market, then I would try kind of a dual strategy. I'd be working social media, and that social media might lead to you getting a gallery. In the meantime, work on getting a gallery, read my new book, which is coming out at Art Business Mastery, hopefully, and you will learn how to nail it. But, you know, anytime you have to do all the marketing yourself, it's hard work. It takes time. I'd rather be painting, and I do a lot of marketing. Jordan White in Meridian, Idaho. What's a good system for tracking collectors so I know who to follow up with and when? Well, Jordan, first off, follow up with everybody all the time. Okay? Now, how do you do that? You do that with email marketing. You do that with text marketing, SMS marketing. You know, I got a text today from somebody that I follow. I don't know, Harbor Freight or somebody. And they said, today only a text, this is a text special that won't be found anywhere else. It's like, oh, that's cool. So, you know, maybe you could do something like that. So in terms of tracking collectors, you know, I used to keep an Excel spreadsheet. There, you know, there's some products out there that allow you to take, you know, track your collectors. If you're selling enough, if you're selling a lot, then it's worth spending the money on products that will help you track your collectors and know which galleries you've sent things to, and, you know, understand the basics of keeping a database. But, you know, you can also keep it in your phone or something, especially if you don't have a lot of people. But, you know, it's really about email marketing. Get it out there, send notices about new work, send newsletters. You know, we had a product called, I can't even remember the name of the product now, but it was a product that helped artists come up with strategies to be in front of people twice a month. And, you know, we made all that up and we put it all together, and we used to sell it. We sold a lot of it, but we stopped doing it because we had other things, other fish to fry. But, you know, you just come up with some creative ideas and then just be out there. what could you do? Ask yourself, come up with that sheet of 50 ideas. What could you do to be in touch with people every other week? Stay visible, show new paintings, get people excited, touch base. Remember, buy 1 or 2 paintings and you're a collector. Get them to buy more. Hey, I've got a thing coming up that you guys need to know about. If you're new here, I like to paint. I'm a plein air painter. I founded Plein Air Magazine. I love being outdoors painting, and I love to paint in nice weather, and I love to paint with friends. And I do paint alone, but I like it better when I'm painting with friends because it's more fun, right? So I set a goal to paint with more friends and to meet more people. And one of those goals was to create a retreat in the wintertime so that people could escape the cold, icy snow of February, right? So Winter Escape is in February, and we're going to be going to Hilton Head Island, staying on the ocean. Doesn't get any better than that. We're feeding you, we're giving you your rooms, we're having our event, we're putting our paintings out at night, we're sitting up at night singing and doing portraits and having a lot of fun. And every level is a welcome, right? Whether you're a beginner, whether you've never plein air painted before, just bring some stuff, we'll help you through it. It's not a workshop, but we'll help you through it. We're all there to help each other. It's going to be sold out before we know it because I think we're already at 60 or 70%. So just go to winterartescape.com and check it out. And it's February 6th through 12th, and it's going to be really beautiful. We're also going to Savannah, Georgia, because it's close by. winterartescape.com. All right. We've got Pastel Live coming up. Let's play a quick little promo for you right now. That'd be awesome. I'm going to host it, and 𝗍𝗆 is going to host it with me. You're going to have a lot of fun. I think, pastel, if you're a new painter, this would be a really good place to start. Just saying. We have Essential Techniques Day at the very first day. It's an optional. You can attend just that, but most people attend the whole thing, both that and the whole thing. So it's 4 days total if you want to do it. Go to pastellive.com. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Just go to YouTube and look up Art School Live. We've been here since COVID began, and we're sticking it out, baby. Sticking it out because we want to be there for you. So, and please give me a follow wherever you are. And remember that we have a free gift for you. The free gift is a beautiful thing. It's 97 Incredible Art Secrets, and you can get your free copy. It's 2 hours of video at 97artsecrets.com/ASL. And if you want the DVD, you can get that for free too, but you got to pay for the shipping. Okay. But otherwise, you can instantly stream. What's really cool about all of our stuff, we have a site called painttube.tv. It has over 700 art instruction courses, full courses from the world's leading artists. And we're on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, Smart TV. It's really cool because you've got an app and you can keep track of all your stuff, and it's a really beautiful thing. So anyway, we'll hope you'll check that out, and we'll see you next time. And we're going to see you at Pastel Live too. I'm Eric Rhodes. Take care. Bye.